Financial institutions really need to start looking at vendors outside of their traditional core marketplaces because there is just a whole raft of new technologies that have now become available through this wave of fintech technology that has become available. And so what we're seeing is that as financial institutions are looking at optimizing their technology stack, they need to start looking at the best of breed players out there that are going to provide all new experiences for their customers and ultimately create a differentiating advantage for them. And so as part of that, they need to look at how do we evaluate those technologies, how do we implement them, and how do we use best of breed architecture to actually implement those technologies and start to drive the transformation for the organization. This has been a critical challenge for banks. They all want to look at what's the new and latest technology. They want to figure out how to go faster. They want to figure out how to save money across the board with the technology that they're using. What we see is the critical factor of this is having the tools that enable them to actually be able to do this. And so there's really a best practice that was developed probably 30, 40 years ago now that it's driven off of what's called API-led approach to your integration. And so when you integrate to your core, you want to make sure your core vendor and your fintech that they're able to give you the APIs you need, the access you need to be able to integrate across systems, and not just one-to-one, but one-to-many. And so by starting to implement those types of technology paradigms, those best practices, you're going to be able to move a lot faster. You're going to be able to use really great technology. Banks need to really start to get smarter on the new world of API integration. This is a critical factor in how you think about integrating with your core as a financial institution. And so what we're seeing now is that some banks are looking at hiring developers, some banks are looking at bringing on new tools and technology for that. And so there's a new stack forming, a new technology stack that's forming that's going to help you be more effective at this new world of API-based technology. And so if you're not already talking about it, you got to start learning about APIs and how that's actually changing the industry that you're working in. But also you need tools to work with those APIs. And so you need a proper API management. You need a proper enterprise service bus. You need a proper connector stack. You need a proper tool set that actually allows you to work with these applications. Executives at banks really need to start rethinking how they interact with vendors that they're needing to integrate to the core. And they need to do this by having a very clear set of requirements that's documented and that's the same for every single fintech that they go talk to. This is a bit of a mind shift for executives because they're used to doing large RFPs rather than handing over a very clear set of requirements. And so but you really do need to start looking at how do we readjust how we approach this, because you have a lot of vendors that are saying that they meet the requirements for open banking, open API standards, and the key technology that's transforming the entire financial industry. But the challenge is that it doesn't always hold up. And so you need to get that proof for it. So you need that set of requirements, you need clear documentation, and you probably need to even see an example of that as you're going through your evaluation with these vendors. Banks need to start looking at a whole different talent pool as we're starting to look at this new world of API-led proper integration with their banking core. And so what we're seeing is that a lot of the lessons that we've seen in the traditional Silicon Valley tech stack really needs to start being applied to banks in order to leverage the technology most appropriately. And so I get asked all the time, who should I hire for my financial institution to take advantage of this technology? And my answer always goes back to thinking about product management. This is something that banks don't typically do very well, but as we start to apply what's called software product managers to a banking space, they're able to best leverage their knowledge of the types of technology, be able to build good business cases, and be able to help you really move faster. And so that's probably the first and most critical piece to it. The other is we do see a lot of banks that are starting to look at developers. Like, how do we actually hire developers in-house? I don't think this is as critical because I do find that you're able to hire contract resources and leverage lots of different ways to get developer talent, because developer talent is so hard to do. But you need someone who's really driving the vision and the go-to-market for the technology you're trying to implement.